Yeah, there's definitely changes, but it is what it is, and we just got to deal with it for a few months.
Christian, can you share some of what you guys were told? Like the NBA is in such a bubble. You guys are not in as strict a bubble, but like, are you going out for lunch or are you just staying in the room the whole time? What have your instructions been?
I mean, we're not really supposed to. We can get stuff to go, but we're not really supposed to hang out in any restaurants or anything like that. And it's kind of on us just to stay healthy and make sure that we keep passing those COVID tests every other day, and owe it to each other and teammates, and just take responsibility for this shortened season and make sure we all make it through.
Christian, there's usually so much like emotion and pomp and circumstance and excitement going into opening day. What's it like going into this one in such a weird, strange, different year?
It's going to be a quiet opening day, probably. I mean, we're going to have another team, and it'll be opening day, but we'll see if it has this. I don't know if it'll have the same energy and atmosphere and all that, but something that we're expecting, prepared to deal with. And it's definitely exciting, though, to play some games that count and get back to semi-normal year.
Christian, do you feel ready personally with the opener tomorrow?
Yeah, as ready as we're going to be. It's a shortened camp, and everybody knew that coming in, and feel healthy, feel ready to go. So excited to get started.
Christian, you've not like last night was your first home run of your career. It was off of a nasty lefty, and how good did that one feel, especially, the way you were struggling for a while in camp?
I wasn't struggling. I was just doing my best Bob Uecker impression. He wasn't there, so we had to make sure that he was able to be a part of that somehow. So I took it upon myself to try and reenact some of his ABs. And but the last couple of days, we finally started feeling a little bit better and made progress. I felt like every day the results really weren't there, but the comfort level was starting to come back, and hopefully we got it figured out before opening day, and the homer made it there right at the buzzer.
Christian, so just the 50th anniversary tribute to you, huh? Well, you didn't tell us that ahead of time.
It was a surprise.
Christian, there have been some reports of last-minute talks about maybe expanding the playoffs to 16 teams this year. I didn't know if you had an opinion one way or another, if you like the playoff format the way it was, or if you'd be open to expand.
I think it'd be great. It's a different kind of year. It's a shortened year, and I think it'd be a great way to keep fan bases engaged throughout the entire season. And I think if you had, what did you say, 8 teams from each league making it, you'd have a really tight race all the way down to the last day of the season. I think there'd be a lot of teams in it within a game or two of each other going into that final day.
Christian, I want to ask this carefully so it doesn't seem like I'm making light of it, but we've asked all the guys about playing in empty stadiums and stuff like that. And Logan kind of joked, well, I played, for the Rays and Marlins, so I'm used to it. But in all seriousness, and not trying to take a shot at like Miami or anything like that, but is there, when you're going into a park that's kind of sparsely populated, is there a different feeling? Is it a little bit tougher? Like, what was that like?
It's tougher when you're the team that does it every day. When you're the team that just the season gets long and it grinds on you a little bit when you're the team that's playing in the empty ballpark every day. When you're the visiting team and you go there for 3-4 days, it's not really that big of a deal just because it's a small part of your thing. You're there to play the games and try and win it, and you're out and you go play. And like for us, we go play back in Miller Park or something where there's 45,000 fans and we're good. So when you're the visiting team, it's not that big of a deal. When you're the home team and you're the team that wears it day in and day out, and you go out there and there's nobody there, you got to find ways to get yourself up and get motivated to play. And that's what we did there. That's, when you're playing in Miami, you'd use your teammates or yourself you'd find ways to motivate yourself and to go out there in an atmosphere that is different from a lot of places in the league. And, that's going to have to apply to this year because obviously there's no fans, and you're going to have to find ways to get yourself up.
Would it be a stretch then to say that experience maybe will help you a little bit going forward this year?
Potentially. I mean, even then there's some people, there's some atmosphere. but yeah, I think I just understand what it's going to be like and what that feels like to an extent. And guys have gotten used to it. I mean, we've done the last 3 weeks that way and kind of understand what it's going to be like. And it is what it is. You can't use it as an excuse, and just have to realize that it's there, and every team in the league's dealing with it. So the ones that adapt and find a way to get themselves ready to play are the ones that are going to be successful.
Christian, when you were mic'd with Sophia on that first inter squad, it was really interesting to hear you in the middle of it talk about how you were unhappy with your timing. I don't know if that was fun for you to have to talk through it right on the air. But in your experience, something like last night where you square one up, can it be as simple as one swing that gives you that good feeling again?
Yeah, it comes and goes, kind of when it pleases, and some years it comes back faster than others, and sometimes it just doesn't come for a really long time, and other years it takes 3 at bats. So you just never really know, and you're just working through it and kind of trusting the process. But I guess you guys kind of got to see parts of it that you usually wouldn't get to see. Like, that stuff's not broadcast, and you wouldn't be as involved as normal. But that's not anything really out of the ordinary, I guess, at least for myself. That's kind of how I approach games and work, and you just usually don't get to hear all the expletives and everything that goes into it. But it's baseball's a tough game, and it's a lot harder than it looks. And there's moments where it's a grind up there, and it's a grind for everybody. And that's what makes this game special, is everybody's always trying to stay on top of it and try and find that way. And those are the battles you fight throughout the season and before the season, and then never get easier.
Hey, Christian, advice for the Cubs hitters tomorrow facing Brandon Woodruff?
Yeah, he's got great stuff. We're excited to have him start opening day for sure. It's well deserved, and hopefully it's the first of many for him. Our guys have looked great though. Burns has looked awesome. House looked really good last night. Bullpen guys, everybody's looked awesome. Everybody, I guess you hear the talk about how we don't have any pitching, but all of us are talking about how that doesn't really make any sense. We don't think that. It doesn't really make any sense to us. We think that we really believe in our guys out there on the mound and think they can do a great job and have done a great job. They might not be household names yet, but we're really confident that they're going to give us a great chance to win every night, and looking forward to watching them this year.
Christian, being back in left field, is it kind of like riding a bike? You feeling back at home out there?
Yeah, it's been nice. Still getting used to the ball coming back at you from a different direction, but definitely feels familiar, and it's a place that I definitely feel more comfortable at. And just getting the bearings again, getting used to playing in the 3-deck stadiums and reading the ball off the bat and the different backdrops of each stadium, and it's nice to be back out there.
How much did it help to have a game last night instead of just a show and go and it's opening day at Wrigley?
Yeah, it was nice to ease back into it and play a different team, playing in a different stadium, and get a different feel than just playing at home. And I think we're going to regular practice here in a couple hours, so it'll be nice to be out there and just kind of feel like a regular season. I mean, we're waking up in a hotel today. It's not the normal routine that you'd have on the road in a regular season, but you're definitely getting that feel, I guess, of just back in a semi-road routine or the feel of a season.
The pregame routine, just not being able to be in the clubhouse as often as y'all are accustomed to, having to spend more time outside. Is that something you've kind of adapted to from these intra-squad games and the exhibition game, or is it going to be a kind of a whole new level of adjustment now that the regular season has begun?
It hasn't been too bad, but you just got to deal with it. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. You have to abide by it, and you have to find a way to prepare and get ready to play. And it's definitely not regular or how you would really go about it in a normal season, but it's really not too big of an inconvenience. And we've had these 3 weeks to get used to it and see what it's going to be like and go from there, honestly. And like I said earlier about the fan thing, is that you can't use it as an excuse. It is what it is. It's the same for everybody, and you just got to adapt.
Christian, do you have any comment about Ryan playing one game and getting on the opening day roster?
I mean, he said he's ready and feels good and is ready to go. He said he doesn't need a lot of at bats, so hopefully he's healthy and ready to go, and he can help us win some games.
Christian, playing 2 weeks of inter-squad games against your own team, does that make a hitter feel a little more unsettled than coming out of a regular camp with 30 exhibition games against other teams? Like, it's just such a weird way to prepare. Does it make you feel a little more unsettled going into the season?
I mean, you're right about it. It's not the normal preparation time. It's not how you'd usually go about getting ready for a season, but it's what we had. It's what we got to deal with. And for the most part, it's just getting your body in shape and getting ready to play every day and bounce back, night game after day game. And we simulated that and playing back-to-back days and just getting those feels. And I think we're able to accomplish that. We knew going in, you're not going to have whatever it is, the 28 to 30 spring training games you'd usually have before a season. It is what it is, though. And then, like, with all these things, it's like, hey, it's not an excuse. Everybody had the same amount of time. We're all in the exact same boat. So it's about finding a way. And I think everybody's prepared to play. Nobody said that they feel unprepared or they're not ready to go. I think we're all fine. We're all ready to go. And we're excited for the first real one tomorrow.
Christian, how do you view your role in like giving people some relief from the pandemic and entertainment? And they look forward, obviously, to seeing you and hearing Bob and stuff like that versus putting yourself and your teammates at risk with what's going on.
I feel like we all feel pretty comfortable about participating. I wouldn't say that anybody has any objections or uneasy feelings about being here, especially seeing how it's been run the last 3 weeks. It's been pretty smooth, and we're excited to be back out there. It's not going to be the normal fan experience that you'd get being able to come to the stadium and watch the team and be a part of it that way. But just to be out there will be great. I've seen some of these games on TV, and it feels like a normal game kind of when you're watching it, just without the fans. And the main difference is when you're in the stadium, it's a lot quieter and there's not that same atmosphere. But as far as watching it from a fan standpoint, it'll be pretty much the same as a regular year. So we're excited to be back out there and provide some entertainment, especially in what's been a tough year in 2020.
Christian, thanks a lot for joining us, and we're sure that you appreciated your tribute.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. So just doing anything we can to include him in the season.